Hey everybody, welcome back to another Deck Tech. This time, and for the next few times, we'll be taking a blast from the past. Usually I just do decks that are based on cards that were released in the latest set, which would make sense, right? So now we're going back a few sets and making some Amonkhet God tribal decks, starting with the lovely Oketra here. Before I take in any further to the deck, make sure to check out our sponsors over at flipsidegaming.com. If you purchase your Magic singles there and use my promo code GREAT at checkout, you can save 10% on orders over $10. You're saving money while supporting me at the same time. Alright, let's get into it. Oketra is all about having a wide board and creating as many tokens as possible. So Oketra's Monument, Anointed Procession, and obviously the god herself are pretty much auto-includes in a deck all about tokens. Oketra's Monument also lets our creatures cost less, as well as creating a 1/1 whenever you cast a creature spell. Anointed Procession doubles our token output, which is not only a great combo with the cards shown here, but also for most of the cards in our deck. Oketra the True is why I even made this list. She obviously benefits from having a wide board, but she also can create 1/1s for a few extra mana, which is a nice touch. Okay, let's attack with Oketra and these two tokens right here. That's going to flip Legion's Landing, but the main purpose is to attack. Is obviously we're going to lose the two tokens because you got two 2/2s out. But eventually this Oketra will chip away, and since we have the token generators out and he doesn't, and we have a flipped Legion's Landing, we're pretty much in line to win this game no matter what. So feeling pretty good about that. Yep, get in. He's deciding to chump that. Okay. And I'm assuming he's going to take the 2/2 lifelink and the Aviary mechanic and block our 1/1s, which, again, we could just spend the 1/1s. Flipping Legion's Landing was the point of this attack. But getting Oketra every turn is going to be really important for our game plan here. Time for the rest of the creatures here. And there's quite a few, so stay with me and I'll try to make this as brief as possible. We're going to start at the bottom of the curve and move up. Anointed Priest, Glintsleeve Artisan, and Master Trinketeer take up the lowest slots for the creatures. Anointed Priest not only gains its life for our tokens, which is good within itself, and synergizes very well with another card we're playing, but when you embalm it, it comes back as a token, which can be doubled if you have Anointed Procession out. Artisan creates 2 creatures on its own, but possibly 3 if you control either an Oketra's Monument or Anointed Procession. And Trinketeer may seem weird in this deck, and sometimes his usefulness isn't there, but we play quite a few cards with Fabricate in this deck. Also, just like Oketra, we can use extra mana and create tokens with them, which again is a nice touch. The other 3 creatures we're playing are Visionary Augmenter, Crested Sunmare, and Angel of Invention. Visionary Augmenter stays with the small Fabricate theme we have in the deck, and is our best token enter the battlefield effect for its mana cost, especially if we have both Monument and Processions out. Angel of Invention buffs our team, while also putting at minimum 3 creatures on the battlefield. And finally, Crested Sunmare. We have a surprising amount of life gain in the deck, most of it which comes out of Anointed Priest, but it was good enough for me to play this card. We can create 1/1s as much as we want, but Crested Sunmare doesn't give a damn about 1/1. He just jumps straight to the 5/5s, which you gotta love. Man, this is gonna be good. Well, it's really good that we had Legion's Landing to have a 1/1 lifelinker out, because now here he comes, Crested Sunmare. Yep, that life gain is pretty much gonna win us the game. Having 2 5/5s, especially one that's indestructible, is gonna be game ending for him. Yeah, this Crested Sunmare is just so good, especially in a mirror matchup. And we have Angel Invention to follow up next turn. I don't see him winning here at all. And he's 3 things away from Fumigate, 3 lands. And we're getting at least 1 more horse. And Angel of Invention itself is lifelink. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to win this. To the non-creature spells, which in this deck are just as important as our token generators. We have already discussed Oketra's Monument and Anointed Procession, which are both vital to our game plan. So all we got left is removal and an enchantment you've already seen in the clips of my gameplays I just showed off. Legion's Landing, Ixalan's Biting, and Desert's Hold are our final non-land cards in the deck. Legion's Landing is a 1-mana enchantment that puts out a 1/1 lifelinker, which you just saw how important that might be. But the point of this card is to flip it by attacking with 3 creatures, which is not at all hard to do. When it transforms, it turns into a legendary land that can either tap for mana, or you can pay 3 and tap itself to create a 1/1 lifelinker. A very good card at both supplying chump blockers, but also widening our board, while supplying us with life gain triggers for Crested Sunmare. Ixalan's Biting is played over Cast Out for me in this deck just because it can exile anything. I mean, Cast Out can do that too, but it can make sure your opponent can't cast another copy of that card. And Desert's Hold is another surprisingly great piece of removal for me. Pacifies and disables activated abilities on a creature just for 3 mana, and if you control a desert, which we're playing 8 deserts, you gain 3 life. And gaining life in a deck is good when that deck plays Crested Sunmare. Okay, so we top deck Legion's Landing, which means we could go Legion's Landing and Desert's Hold on Hazoret, which puts us nearly dead, but we have a couple... Oh, we have life gain and a 1/1 lifelinker blocker. That's good. So Legion's Landing. Gonna get actually 2 1/1 lifelinkers, so that's gonna be hard for him to deal with. Okay. Try to play... Oh, wait, no, I gotta hit okay. Oops. I'm still somewhat new to MTGO, although the excuse is probably going to run out at some point again. Let that resolve first, then Desert's Hold that. And the reason we Desert's Hold that now is so it can't discard cards and use its activated ability. Also to gain the life now. So, there we go. Well, that's really important against a Ramunap red deck, is to gain life and put lifelinkers out. Our lands are simple. We're playing 8 deserts, 4 of which can cycle, and the other 4 are which they can buff our entire team by sacrificing other deserts. The rest are just basic plains for a total of 24 lands. Our sideboard, however, is a bit more interesting. Decommission and Solemnity are cards that are in here for enchantment and artifact hate, as well as energy hate. More copies of both Desert's Hold and Ixalan Binding are in here for further removal. Fumigate is in here against other token decks and possibly mid-range deck that also runs sweepers. And finally, Savings Grace as basically a budget and white version of Heroic Intervention. However, it can only protect us from burn sweepers like Sweltering Suns and Hour of Devastation. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to vote in the top right-hand corner of your screen. We'll be praising some Amonkhet gods for our next few decks. Each of these decks will include at least 3 copies of the rightfully named god and his or her monument, and the deck also must be monocolored, just so you guys know what is in each of these decks and what restrictions I put on it. Obviously, the Praise Bulls deck can't be monocolored, and he has no monument, so that's a bit different. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and stick around tomorrow for the first of 3 gameplays on this deck.